5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We are live. Good. This is a marathon of broadcasts, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and tomorrow. And it's been my absolute pleasure this week to share with you stories of success. I don't think there's anything better than hearing about what other people have done. If you think about it, that's why most of us read books or we go to the cinema, because we like to hear a story. And normally we want to hear a story that has a happy ending, or a story that leaves you thinking, oh, that was really good. I really enjoyed that. And those are definitely the sorts of stories that children love to listen to. I think adults sometimes get caught up in catastrophes and disaster and hanging on the edge of their seat to find out if someone, I don't know, well, these it captures people's imagination. But what would it be like if you could create a better story of your own life? What would it be like if you could become fitter, slimmer, healthier? What would it be like if you could break some of the habits that have held you back in the past? And that's what I believe I'm able to provide people with. I also believe that with the My 365 Challenge, which is available, we're closing the doors on Sunday. It's open to 100 people that want to come and work with a small group of people to really just go about making some proper changes in their life. So we have a couple of guests this evening, but first of all, just tell us where you are in the world. We'd love to know where you are in the world, and tell us how you're feeling about where you are right now. I can see more and more people coming into this broadcast, and I just need to share this in one other place, and then we can get cracking. We can get stuck in to this broadcast. So one more place, and we'll be good. We'll be on the move. We'll be cooking on gas, whatever that means. I wonder who came up with that expression. So many of you know I started working in the field of weight loss in 1989, as if it was a field. It wasn't actually a field. It was in a gym. I got a job in a gym, and it didn't take me very long to realize that most of the people who came into the gym actually wanted to lose weight. And I remember growing up watching my mum wanting to lose weight. And I think somewhere it put an idea in my head of, well, the amount of energy and effort that people put into trying to lose weight. Is there an answer? Is there a universal answer that is right for everyone? Yeah, I think there is a universal answer, and that answer basically comes from your head. Oh, the telephone is ringing, but they're going to have to wait because they're not important. You're important. So let's bring in my first guest this evening, and this is a lady who I've known for some time, and her success is incredible. It's the amazing Janet. Good evening, Janet. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Very well.
Well, thank you so much, because I know that you're doing a Pilates class at 8:30. So I know we've only got you for a small period of time, which is I'm very, very thankful for that. So Janet, start off by telling us, what have you achieved on your weight loss journey?
I've achieved a huge number of things, actually. I mean, the kind of the bottom line that people are probably most interested in is how much weight have I lost. I've lost over 100 pounds in weight. I've gone from a size 24 down to a size 16, 18. I don't know how many inches or whatever I've lost. There's a lot of them, I know. So those are the kind of the headline things, but I've just achieved so much more along the way, around self-confidence, knowing who I am. And the most recent thing I've been working on is around self-image. It's a long story, but part of the reason I realize now why I became overweight was because of the image I had of myself, and I used extra weight as a way of hiding from a lot of that. And there have been kind of two issues I've needed to sort out through losing a lot of weight. It takes a while for your head to catch up with how much smaller you are. So I've had to kind of address some of that. And then through that, I've really uncovered some of the underlying self-image issues that I had that resulted in me becoming overweight in the first place. So that seems like a really fundamental understanding that's going to help me going forward. So I've achieved so many things.
Yeah, I mean, it's something I don't think people can relate to unless they've been big. You know, losing 100 pounds is like, well, you know, that's a lot. I mean, 100 pounds in stone is Well,
so
it's like another
7.5. It's
it's like a small person that you've kind of lost. But what have you gained? I mean, you talk about confidence.
Yeah.
I mean, many people have, I've spoken to you before. I knew you many years ago. And when I look at you now, I just see a completely different person. I just see someone who is a force to be reckoned with, someone who can stand up and hold their own. And what I wanted to ask you is it that you've become someone different, or is it that you've just become who you were deep down?
Yeah, it's a really interesting one, and I've realized through that self-image work that I've done most recently, I've kind of changed my thinking about what it is. And what I actually believe is that I've come my true self. So my true self was kind of inside, and I used to think I use the terminology of Janet 1.0, 2.0 to kind of describe the journey I've been through. So the very overweight version of me was Janet 1.0. I lost about 5.5, 6 stone over a period of about a year. So that was a massive, massive transformation. And that kind of took me to being Janet 2.0. And that was doing things like just being much more healthy, eating, focusing on my health really was how I did it, and changing how I ate to eating healthily and being active and embracing exercise for the first time in my life. So, and when I was thinking of myself as Janet 1.0, 2.0, it was interesting because I actually felt like I was moving away from myself and becoming somebody different. Mm-hmm. I then have gone through a kind of evolution to, because I still haven't got to where I finally want to be from a weight and size point of view. Last year, I was kind of focused on becoming Janet 3.0, which was a better version of me. And this year, I'm focusing on a further evolution, which I'm calling Janet 4.0. And what's really interesting was I realized that actually, with the journey to Janet 3.0 to 4.0, I actually feel like I'm coming back to myself, and that I'm actually now much more connected with the true self that was there all along. So it was a really interesting question because my perspective on that has changed quite phenomenally in the last 6 months.
Well, I suppose it's always an interesting journey where you lose so much weight and the challenges that go with that, and you're just going on this kind of complete sort of a hero's journey to come back to your true self. And let me ask you, how specifically do you feel I have helped you, and the approach that I use? What is it about that, do you think, that's really, I don't think I've ever asked you this question actually, but how do you feel that's actually helped you?
Oh, that was a huge part of it. And interestingly, your introduction really spoke to that when you said the one thing that everybody needs to understand is it's in your head. And I can't remember exactly when I came across you, and I don't remember how I did. I think it was a newspaper article, a magazine article, something like that. And I can't actually remember when it was, but I'd been dieting for years, and I would lose a bit of weight, and then I'd give up on the diet when it all went wrong, and I couldn't sustain the diet long term. And as soon as I gave up, I put all of the weight back on plus more. So over the years, I just got heavier and heavier and heavier. And I got to the point where I realized diets don't work.
Yeah.
And I knew I needed somebody to help me with my head, what was going on in my head. People say, oh, well, it's easy. All you need to do is eat less and move more. Well, if it was that easy, I'd have done it years ago. It is not that easy. It's much more complicated and difficult than that. But the answer to it is definitely your mindset and your thinking. So I was looking for somebody who took that approach to weight loss. And that's how I discovered you. And yes, you do need to eat more healthily. You need to eat. I certainly needed to eat less as well. And I needed to be more active. But that was only a part of it. The biggest part of it has been about my thinking, my mindset, establishing a much healthier relationship with food and eating. And understanding some of my beliefs habits, behaviors that have been really ingrained. And some of them, it's taken me and I'm still dealing with some of those of really
I think we all, listen, you know that. I think what we all are. And it's great when you can be in an environment where you can always work on yourself to get better. And I think some people see that as some sort of weakness, but you're getting stronger. And I think of all the people I've worked with, and there has been many, thousands of people, Janet, you're way up there in terms of not the biggest transformation in weight loss. I mean, for me, I'm not bothered about that, but I know obviously you are. I'm bothered about how you feel about who you are. And what I see you've achieved, which is incredible, is this person who walks tall in who they are, what they're about. And I know many people are very, very inspired by that. And I know now that you are also inspiring lots of other people and helping other people who are also, I mean, would you have believed that? Would you have believed a few years ago that you believe that you are where you are right now?
No, I have. I've probably still got a folder of articles I used to tear out of Weight Watchers magazine, Slimming World magazine. They were all of women about whatever age I was at the time and however much weight I thought I had to lose. If I found a before and after story of somebody who had gone from where I was to something else, I think somebody's done it. So I looked for inspiration from other people, and
yes,
it was it took, as you know, it took me a long time to get to the point where I actually could translate some of the learning, and it was really turning it into a belief I could do it.
Yeah. And I think you probably know now that what we're doing with people now, because you've seen them, so many other people now who are a part of My365 make changes quick. And I think it's because they're surrounded by people like you and the fact that I've gotten better, but we're able to get people to believe in themselves quicker, get them to identify with where they're going faster, and obviously get results. I mean, what do you make of what you've seen with the whole My365 thing and the changes that people have made? Tell me what your thoughts are on that.
I mean, it's just incredibly inspiring. Seeing people transform their lives, and for anybody who's overweight and significantly overweight, like I was, it can be a bit all-consuming that you see yourself as this overweight person. I certainly used to be that was the big thing I had to achieve, and was the big failing that I couldn't do it. Once you do achieve the weight loss, and definitely being part of a community makes an enormous difference. I had much more success once I was part of a group of people trying to do the same thing. And that's the big benefit that the weight loss community offers, is that support from other people and inspiration from what other people are doing. And once I was part of that, and once you start to lose the weight, you realize that the weight's only a small piece of it, really. It's much more about becoming a better version of yourself, whatever that means to you individually. So being part of My365 and seeing that, and seeing what other people have achieved, whether it's weight loss, which is always inspiring, but there's usually something else that goes along with it that is also equally inspiring, that is some kind of transformation that has happened with each of those individuals, and being a part of that is incredibly rewarding.
I think deep down we all want to be a part of something that's fun and makes a difference. And so tell me, what would you say to someone out there that's watching this who's overweight? Would you say it was worth it, to make the effort to move away and to make some sacrifices and make some changes? Do you think it's worth it?
Oh, absolutely. I'd pay all the money in the world for it. Yeah, absolutely. It's worth everything. I do not regret anything I've done for 1 minute. At times, yes, it is hard, but it's so worthwhile. I feel so much better from a health point of view, but much more confident, happier, content with things. I'm much more fulfilled, purposeful. My life is so much better in all sorts of ways, all because I actually just got on with it and got started.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because some people are making some comments here. So Lindsay Seal says, Janet truly leading and inspiring by extraordinary examples. In a second, I'm going to bring in my my other guest, but I'm also going to ask those of you that are watching this. Don't answer the question right now, but just get ready. I want you to tell me, how do you feel I've helped you? Because I've just thought about this. I've never really thought about it. What is it specifically that it's a bit of a revelation for me, actually? Desi is saying, what is she saying? She is saying, amazing community. You are leading by example, Janet, and inspirational. Inspirational is a word we hear a lot. So let's bring my other guest in here. We'll keep Janet for a couple of minutes more before she goes and does her Pilates class. My next guest is Elaine. Hello. Oh, she's gone. We've lost her. She's gone. She just literally came to the screen and disappeared. So she's probably going to have to.
Why don't you try and connect her?
I think she's going to have to log in. Again. And now it's like one of those moments where you think, where do we go now? What do we do? So who's got any comments that they would like to make? Back into the broadcast. I'm back in, and I'm bringing Janet back in. I lost myself there, Janet.
Hello. Yeah,
I lost myself.
Oh no!
I went. I mean, that's technology, right?
I was just going to say something, picking up on what you said about the influence that you've had on other people, and which I just thought might be helpful for other people to hear. And I think how your approach helped me was you used to use the word tools. I don't know if that's still the terminology, but you gave me the tools to deal with how I was eating, which gave me a healthier approach to eating, to activity and actually becoming active for the first time, and around kind of behavior and mindset. So it was giving me a kind of bigger picture and a why. But then it was how I could actually put things into practice. And just if all I could deal with was one thing, I could just pick one thing and do it.
Well, it's interesting. And now we've got Elaine. Hi, Elaine.
Hey! Whoa.
Elaine's here as well. Janet, I was going to say also that I've just realized that one of the things I also do is I believe in you. I always believed in you. And I don't know. I'm having some revelations tonight. Elaine, what you just heard from Janet, I know you were listening. And what do you make of what she's achieved? What would you like to say to Janet?
I can't believe how much weight she's lost. That's phenomenal. I mean, that is such an achievement. The determination you must have had to do that. I'm absolutely in awe of you. I was chuffed I lost 20 pounds.
Yes.
It just is incredible.
But it's all relative, right? Because whether it's 20 pounds or 50 pounds or 100 pounds, I think it's all relative to something that is important and something that plays on people's minds a lot, So, listen, Janet, we'll let you go. Thank you so much for your time. You are awesome and a real inspiration. Let's quickly just play the Brady Bunch game. I don't know whether you guys can see this. Just wave, or blankety blank, blankety blank, blankety blank, blankety blank. Blankety blank. Okay, I'm going to put Janet into the green room, and Janet, you're welcome to. It again. It's more older than picture. All right, what can you do? What can you do? Janet, if you could log out, if you could come out, that might actually help. You never know. So I'm still here. So it is amazing when you hear about other people's success. And, the hardest thing to do is just get started. And many of you know me, know that one of the things I firmly believe in is everybody needs a coach. Everyone needs help. And you've got an ideal opportunity to join the My365 challenge. It costs £97. You have access to it forever. You have access to this information here. Let me show you, where maybe we'll get Elaine to come back on.
Hiya, anyone
back.
there?
I'm back. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Right. Are we back again?
We're back again. I don't know what happened there, but it's technology. You know, it doesn't always work. Technical problems, but we're back now. You're on the right and I'm on the left, or the other way around. It doesn't matter. So, Elaine, tell me a little bit about what you've achieved. Tell us where you are, first of all.
I'm in a tiny little place called El Cotillo on the coast of Fuerteventura, which is a real beautiful spot, very quiet, nothing much here, except we've had thunder, we've had rain, we've had wind, and I had to go out and buy a sweatshirt today. I've been so cold.
Yeah.
But the positive side is I spent so long working on my 365. I've caught up with loads of stuff. So from that point of view, it's been brilliant.
Well, listen, I first of all want to thank you for being here this evening, especially when you're on holiday. And I also want to say congratulations on your success. So tell me, what is it that you've achieved?
Oh, gosh, you know, there's so much. Simply, I think, because I was trying to think when I first started working with you. I think it was when my stepdaughter got married and I bought your Lighten Up book. Which was a revelation. It was so different because I come from the era when, you were talking about it today, the corn syrup was developed. The ghastly white plastic sliced bread came into the shops and all the rubbish about saturated fat and not eating eggs. You know, I've been through all those awful things, and it was just great to have a book that talked sense. And that program you started off with, you have developed beyond, you know, recognition really, and just kept on improving it and tweaking it. And I think the thing it did for me was make awareness of me, how I operate, my strengths, my weaknesses. And it proves so much to me about me.
Yes, you know, it's really interesting that you said that, and a kind of another revelation, big light bulbs going off, which I'll talk about in a moment. So I know that you've lost 20 pounds in weight, but I also know that you're really into fitness, right? Aren't you? You really, it's a massive part of your life, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I taught PE, I taught aerobics for 18 years. And I love it. I still love it. I mean, you should have seen me today. I've been using crutches at the moment. I was doing this mad, crazy crutch dance because I couldn't. I just wanted to move. You know, sadly, my body, my muscles are very strong. My joints are a bit rubbish. So I've got 3 prosthetic discs in my spine. I've had a hip replacement. I've had 3 knee ops. I've had all these neck fusion and issues with my neck, but what I'm able to do is not say, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, is to say, okay, I've had a hip replacement. I tell you what, I'll get in the pool, float between my legs, and I will train with just my upper body. Yeah. Like today, I've been able to do planks. I've been able to do certain things in my yoga because I don't see is it stopping me. I just think I just have to do things differently.
Wow. See, I didn't know that. I didn't know that, and I saw you standing on. I saw you doing a headstand recently, or
yes. Oh, I was so yeah. I wanted to do that, and my trainer he worked with me on that because I was doing it at home and not doing it properly, and we just got into slightly more gymnastic-y start because I said to him I want to do a cartwheel and I want to be able to do a bridge, and my neck. You know, I had this neck fusion, And I just love it. They solve a problem, but in long term, it creates another problem. The
Yeah,
vertebrae
yeah,
above below are now knackered, and
yeah.
they can't do anything. So I'm stuck with that, which worries me, because I'm thinking, well, what am I going to be like if I ever make, 20 years at 88 or whatever I'll be. Um,
I
you
know
know,
someone. I know someone you might want to go and have a chat with, and her name. She's a My365er, Sandra Bickmore, an
oh, right,
amazing Pilates teacher, unbelievable. But
right.
let me look at a couple of things with you. So first off, how would you say that me as your coach and the process that you've been on, how would you say that specifically helped you?
I think it's been a real learning curve. It's been gradual. I'm each time I do something with you, I pick up little gems, and those little gems become good habits. I might forget some of the stuff, but when I redo it, they also start to resonate, and they become good habits. So over the time, I just become more and more adept at coping what life throws at me. And I have to say, over the last 5 years, I've had some rubbish thrown at me.
Yeah.
I've got 4 kids, 3 married, well, not mine, but between us, 3 divorced. And that is so hard to live through. We've got 5 grandchildren. 2 of them were very poorly, and it's out of your control. All you can do is be there, and that can drain you hugely.
But
You know.
now you've obviously, even with turmoil and trauma, and I know your mum recently passed
Mhm.
away. Even with all of that, you're still now making the time to work on your own fundamentals and always looking to make sure that you're all right. And I mean, that is a great bit of inspiration for other people, because I think when life knocks us off course, we often let go of the real things that have kept us on course.
Mm. Oh,
Um,
absolutely,
and
absolutely. And I think that's one of your strengths, is to to teach me that I'm in control of my feelings. I have choices to make every single minute of every single day, and I can choose to go under, or I can choose to say, well, look at this, I'm not letting this beat me.
yeah.
And I think the other thing is, I have drawn on a inner strength that I had no idea I had.
Well, it's interesting because we've got a few people now. Susan Dukin saying such a strong lady. Desi Willoughby saying you are amazing, Elaine. It's nice to be an inspiration to other people just
Oh,
by
mm,
being who you are. And I think you've said something which I want to come back to, because we haven't really spoken about it this week, and because obviously a lot of my approach is around the psychology, but it has a lot to do with nutrition. And again, it was very interesting what you said there before, because you started in an era where things changed. And it was around when the Department of Agriculture in America basically came up with this food pyramid, which told people that fats were bad. We should eat more carbs. We should, like you said, don't eat eggs, don't eat
mm,
egg yolks, don't eat fat, don't eat meat, don't eat the fat from meat, don't eat
mm,
butter, eat margarine. And you've probably gone through, and I've obviously been a part of that, the biggest change in food and what we consume in the history of man. And now we eat a lot of food like things that aren't actually food. And Elaine, today I was doing some research. There's a guy called Robert Lustig, who's one of the most well-known people in the world of the endocrine system and insulin. And I wrote this down. It was really interesting. He said that sugar used to be very hard to get out from foods, like from sugar cane. It's very hard to extract it.
mm,
So nature made it very hard to get sugar out, whereas man has made it extremely easy for us to
yeah.
get sugar into our system. So whether we're either have food, say, replaced it with sugar, which means less calories. But what people don't understand is a calorie is not a calorie, because the way our
Mm,
body handles it. And what
mm.
difference has it made to you? Well, what significant dietary changes have you made?
Oh, right. Well, I wouldn't dream of not cooking our meals, all fresh stuff. I don't eat meat. So we have stacks of veggies. I may have the odd organic jar of sauce in the cupboard for an emergency.
Yeah.
But we have fish probably 3 or 4 times a week, and we have vegetarian meals the other times. I couldn't bear the thought of having a takeaway.
Yeah.
I love cooking, and my husband says, who was a meat and 2 veg man for many years, he said he just loves the variety and the interest in the food that's available, especially vegetarian food.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
it's really interesting, and just to see how things have changed, and what a lot of people don't realize, and which is one of the ways that we educate people with the My365 challenge is, fat isn't the issue. People, well, it is an issue. Of course, it's an issue, the type of fats that we eat, but really it's sugar and the effect that has on our metabolic system. And once you start changing that for many people, your cravings change. And you just feel more alive, you feel more awake. But Elaine, I want to just finish just by asking you, where are you going now, in terms of what's wildly important to you, and where do you want to focus your energy on, and where do you want to be in the next 3 to 5 years?
Well, I'm 68. My husband turned 70 in December. My peer group, I've been actually privileged to know them for over 40 years. There's 3 ladies, 70 this year. They're overweight, they're on blood pressure tablets, they're on statins, they grunt and groan when they stand up and sit down. And I look at them thinking, I've got a lot of life to live. I'm so excited about life. My aim is to have as much fitness and health as I possibly can, because there's still a lot of traveling. As you know, I love traveling, and it can be grueling. We did 2 trips to India last year, and it was demanding. And unless I'm fit and full of energy, I won't do that. And I'm so excited. You know what I'm doing at the moment? Planning a trip from California, where I'm going to a wedding, and we're traveling up to Alaska. And
wow. Can I come?
I'm so excited.
Can I come?
Yes, you can.
Well, I tell you, it's quite timely. As many people know, my dad he's home now, which is amazing. And I'm still at their house. I've been looking after my parents for the last 25 days. And it's funny because my mum and dad are so like, you've helped, thank you very much. And you're so kind. And it feels like, what a weird thing for your parents to tell you, where it feels like the most natural thing on earth to take care of your parents, because they've taken care of you. It's like, what? And I know you can relate to that, because, your mum was unwell for a long time. But the reason I want to say this is that I'm like you, Elaine. I want to, and I know this sounds a bit morbid, but I want to pass away in my sleep. I don't want to pass away in a hospital. I want to live my life as best as I possibly can. And I know that for a lot of people, they just want to lose weight. I just want to lose a couple of stone. Great, fine. The My365 weight loss challenge can help you do that, plus help you keep it off and all of those things. But for other people, you might want to be thinking a bit further ahead, and what you're doing today and our life, when we make poor lifestyle choices and we eat poorly, there's a chronic side to that. When I say chronic, there's acute, which is now, and chronic is over time. So when you make those investments in yourself and take care of yourself, you're actually investing in your future. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, absolutely. That chronic thing actually worried the life out of me, because I'm thinking, well, when you're in your 30s, I love my 40s. I was at my absolute peak fitness and whatever, but I didn't know how much I drank or what I ate. But as you get older, you start thinking about these things. When you're that age, you think you're invincible. You don't start worrying about your pensions or how well will I be. It's very sobering to think that there is only so much more time you've got left. And back at me, I'm not going to waste it.
Well, there's a guy I know who's called Gary Vaynerchuk, and he's one of these people who's massive on social media. And I saw a video where someone said, "Can you give me some advice?" And he goes, "You're going to die." And the person was like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, you're going to die." So you better start living. And I think living for a lot of people is just living for today, you know, and getting the much out of you can for today. And look, that's great, but there is a tomorrow. And if you want to have a good tomorrow, then make the most of today. Elaine, I can't thank you enough for joining us this evening, especially when you're on holiday. I really appreciate you.
My husband's gone off to a sports bar to watch Leeds Rhinos play rugby league. So that was quite nice for me to stay in on my own.
Well, I listen, I'm so thankful for you speaking out and sharing part of your story. And I'm looking forward to seeing your continued success moving forwards. Let's give Elaine a big wave. There's lots of people making
fun. It's been lovely.
It's been emotional.
Yeah,
and I'm very thankful for that. You know, we have the pleasure of helping people from all different walks of life, you know. And it's interesting because with everyone, they've got a different story to tell. And what's your biggest takeaway from what you've heard this evening? I need to write a few things down. And let me just finish off by telling you, look, you've now got a couple of days before we close the door again on the My365 challenge. And to me, I don't know about you, but I love a challenge. And this is a challenge that you could really, really take advantage of if you want, and come and work with some like-minded people and make some significant changes in your life. Sometimes the hardest thing to do, as many of you know, is just to get started, to start that process. And what the My365 challenge is designed to do is to break it down, to make it a bit easier for you. And this is where we believe that everyone needs coaching. So when you join, it costs £97. You have access to this for life. And you have this complete program that's all set up for you with 7 challenges, 7 tools, 7 resources, a whole lot of extra material, recipes, meal plans, access to a great group of people, how to make a strong start. And you get me. You get me who's spent, you know, nearly 30 years, next year, 30 years of my life helping people just like you achieve the results that they want. And again, as many people know, you probably know that I'm just getting started with this. I'm getting better. And I can't even begin to tell you the difference that coaching has made to me in my life. My coach probably saved my life. He definitely saved my wife's life. You know, I've had a coach for 16 years. This gentleman helped me. I learned so much from him, and I'm still learning, and I'm sharing, and I'm getting better. And I believe that you can get better too. So does anyone have any questions before we end? Thank you so much for your comments. I can see Lindsay's making a nice comment here saying, thank you, Pete, believing in us. Absolutely. I believe in most people, to be honest. I think I believe in them more than they believe in themselves. But we really appreciate all you guys showing up. Like I say, you've got a couple of days to join Elite. If you click on the link, just go to my365.me/invite. Go and see what this program can actually do for you. I think there's a money back guarantee as well. So you've really got nothing to lose. If you're already an Elite member, when you get the program, it will go immediately into your members area with all of the other masterclasses. But thank you for being here this evening. We really appreciate it. Wish you an amazing rest of the evening. And tomorrow night, the last of our interviews of some of our great stories. Your life is a story. The story ain't over. If you want to create an amazing story of where you're going, chances are you're going to need some help. You might need some other people, some actors who could become people on the same journey as you and become your friends. And the last thing, I want to say a massive shout out to Susan Dugan, who is the My365 member of the month. Unbelievable. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I am going to bed because I'm up at 4, getting ready to work with our Elite family tomorrow. Good night, my friends. Thank you for being here. We'll see you tomorrow. All the best. And join Elite. Join the challenge, the My365 challenge.